What up? What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Blood Splatter Chatter. We are live. I'm your host. My name is Verno. And tonight we're going to be talking about a really fun, what I think is a bit of an underseen film from 2013 called Coherence. And we got the usual suspects with us. Let's bring them in one at a time. It's Mr. Red Glow Stick himself, Stu the Slayer.
Hey, Station, bro. Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited to chop it up about this one.
I am very excited. I'm glad you were able to make it. And I'm also glad our long-haired friend over here, he's letting his hair down for 2024. He's getting us ready for it. What up, babe? What's going on, man?
What's going on, fellas? Chilling, man. Chilling. Still hungover from Wednesday.
Yeah. If anyone didn't check out the show we did on One Collection Down on Wednesday night, make sure you do that. If you didn't check out what Stu and Steph did on Supreme Clientele on Tuesday night, make sure you do that as well. And if you haven't checked out a clean shaven Steph in a while, here's your chance right here. What up? In the flesh, button up shirt, clean shaven. What's up, brother?
Press that screenshot button now.
Yeah. Yeah. Probably have a mustache or a full beard by the time that this show is over. All right. So let's get into this, man. We're talking Coherence tonight from 2013. This is one I feel like it was recommended to me, and it's one that I know when I originally clicked on it, I do this a lot. Like I'm just gonna check this movie out and see what it's like for 5-10 minutes. And then I actually turned it off and rediscovered it later on. Really enjoyed it. And if nobody knows, this is one of those things I sent to you guys in the chat. Just to give Fable, I know I like to give you a little color of like the budget. You had already looked into it, but basically the dude that made this, his name is James Ward Byrkit, and he was one of the big collaborators on the first 3 Pirates of the Caribbean films. He was the conceptual consultant and storyboard artist, but he's really tight with the guy that directed those movies, and he's one of his major collaborators. And after working on those 3 huge special effects, big budget, big actor, big crew type of movies, he wanted to do a zero budget, zero crew movie. So as far as I understand, this is shot at his house, and I think he shot it. These are all friends of his that he didn't know. All the actors, none of them knew each other. They're all just buddies of his. It was a 5-day shoot in his living room. He's running the camera, directing it, and it's not scripted. It's a very detailed outline. So every day the actors would show up to set, and they would get like a little sheet with their motivations and whatever they're supposed to be like feeling for that day, but they don't know what everyone else is going to say. So that's why it creates this like really naturalistic dialogue. And it's one of those things that some people might not like that style, but knowing how they shot it and how they wrote it, it's like, I don't know. I think it's pretty badass. But Stu, you said you jumped in and you realized that you'd seen the movie like when you were like 40 minutes deep into it, right? What'd you think?
Yeah, absolutely, man. I loved it. I loved it on the rewatch, but I think it's easily one of those movies that you can initially start to watch and kind of like check out on because of the conversational nature of like at least the first bit of it. But I think if you really give it like that time and attention, man, and you know, put the dog on the leash and follow where it goes, it's very rewarding. I think it's very accurate in like a human sense. I feel like with the interactions at the dinner party and also like the overlapping thematic, philosophical, quantum mechanical structure / nature of the story is fascinating. And like it's one of those things you can endlessly build theories on and kick around, so yeah, man. I think it's a movie, like if the more you're willing, the more time, like you said, and like you said, it's a feat in that 5 days, the terms on which it's shot and produced and stuff like that, I think is amazing and definitely deserves some acclaim and attention. But yeah, I think it's one of those movies, like the more attention and investment you give it, the more you can get out of it, for sure.
1,000%. It's kind of, it reminds me a shitload of Invitation, or of The Invitation, where you're every bit of the story you're kind of picking up from the dialogue. But I feel like there's a little bit more character bits in this. It's a little bit more complex, and you get to know the characters. You get to know more of the characters better than that you did in The Invitation, where it was really just zeroed in on the one guy. But Fable, you hadn't seen this before, right?
No, it's a first time watch for me.
What'd you think, brother?
That was pretty good. It's interesting. It's a good a tale, a good little science fiction thing going on there. I enjoy that. I'm with you with what you said a little earlier. Like style wise, and it's me personally, it's not a knock on the movie. You know what it does well. But I'm not really with the shaky cam kind of style and the overlapping dialogue and just a lot of speaking like that. But I do like the concept, and when you tell me the budget and you tell me how this was filmed and stuff like that, it becomes more impressive.
Right.
With those aspects, I'm glad I know now, and I didn't go into it knowing that before, because I was like, the budget is really showing here. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, but that's the budget. This is really like a stage play, I would say. Like if you filmed a stage play, this is what it is. But I love the concept. Great concept.
That's what I feel like I said it, I think last week, talking about you'll have these homes that are set or you'll have these movies that are set in one location, and sometimes they can feel stagier than others. The way that they did it's kind of my biggest ding on the movie is the way it's shot. I don't really love that either. It's not very artfully done. I'll just kind of leave it at that. We can get in more of the style later, but it lacks art in that department. It's a lot of shaking around and then close-ups on people's faces, which lets you get intimate with those characters, but it's just, I don't know, it lacks art, I guess.
Yeah, and you kind of lose placement with the editing, right? And in this movie, you kind of want to know placement because it all ties into the whatever the story they're trying to tell. Like I noticed at one part, the guy was whispering in another guy's ears, and then when they cut back, the guy was sitting down. And it was like he couldn't have sat down that quick. You know what I mean? So it was just a little clunky on the editing. But again, not a knock on this film because of everything, all the aspects of the budget, the one location filming, stuff like that. It's pretty impressive.
Right. Well, it's interesting that the guy hasn't directed a movie since then either. He's done some TV, he's done some writing and stuff like that. But I figured, because this got some pretty good buzz. It's got it's like a 7.2 on IMDb, which is like a 9.2 for horror, and it's got like an 89 on Rotten Tomatoes. So it got buzz. Like a lot of people dug it won some awards for the screenplay, but he hasn't done much since. Now, Steph, if anybody had seen this film, Stu, I know you said you did, but I was like, Link might have seen this. He stumbles across most things out there.
Yeah.
But you did see it before. What did you think of it on the rewatch?
I did. I realized a little earlier that I had seen it. The guy who plays Xander in Buffy.
Yeah.
That when I saw him, I realized like, oh, I've seen this before. I discovered this because there was like a few years ago, I was rewatching Interstellar. I was telling you guys in the back chat, and I was like, that really hit me, So I was like typing in like time travel gems and shit like that. And
my man Chill, they're trying to distract us and shit. So if there's no black people at the dinner party, just don't go. It's something bad is going on.
Thanks, brother. Sorry, go ahead and preach. Go ahead and preach.
But it was on a list of undiscovered time travel gems, and so I saw it, and it was like you said, there was some buzz to it because it was on a list, and I watched it. It was all right for me the first time. I like Fable. I dug the concept, but I was kind of turned off by like I didn't realize, I didn't find out until you told me about the budget and how quick they shot it and stuff like that the first time I watched it. So I was a little ho-hum about it the first time, to be honest. Concept was cool, I dug that, but beyond that, it felt super like a project, like a concept project or something like that.
I do feel that. I do feel it's a like a gimmicky type of thing. Like, let's do a show. Let's do one with no crew and this kind of, it feels that way.
It's like, how they talked about Schrodinger's cat like being a thought experiment. It feels like a thought experiment. Like
yeah,
for sure.
It's like a dare. I fucking dare you to make a movie like that, bro.
Yeah,
try it.
But it's upon my rewatch, I dug it a little bit more. I feel like this is a movie where you'll probably definitely get more out of it upon a rewatch, because I guess the way you find out the characters' relationships through the dialogue, I guess there's more to dig through. Your mind can kind of latch on to things a little bit more the second time around. You really are filling in blanks though, to a degree. But it's cool for what it is. Like Fable said earlier, I think it's best is I respect it for what they did under the circumstances. It's not everyone's gonna dig this. I can see how a lot of people be turned off by this.
Totally.
But at the same time, this is a film that's noteworthy of some iota of respect because of what it did. So it's weird. It's a weird one, but I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah, it's one of the best $50,000 movies you've ever seen. In your
life. Right, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm willing to bet that it's in the top 5 for me. Probably, I'd like to see that list. No, it's the type of movie, and the guy that wrote it, he's very forthcoming with kind of explaining the movie and his thoughts behind the movie. Two Guns sent me a video that was really cool, where he was just kind of, it was the director and writer just kind of laying out what guided him through the writing process. And let me see if I can bring this. There's 2 characters, Amir. Hey, Zombie Fest next month. Get ready for it. Hugh and Amir, they're the 2 characters that leave first. We never see those characters again. We see 4 different versions of them.
Yeah.
But basically the way he's explaining it, and I'm not gonna try and trace down every bit of what different realities and all this. But the way he explains it, anytime someone leaves the house, you never see that person come back. Right. It's always a different version of them coming back. And anytime you see someone leave the house and re-enter the house, they're never entering the same house again. So there's always a switch in reality right there. But I guess, you know what, I should set up the premise for people real quick without stumbling over it and sounding like a jackass too much. But it's basically this dinner party. We've got these group of friends together. There's a comet overhead, and all of the machines on Earth turn real. And they start, oh wait, no, that was Maximum Overdrive. Hold on. What the comet does, it creates it so there's all these diverging realities, where if you go outside this house, there's this dark area that acts like a roulette wheel, or if you walk through it, you get spit out into some other reality that doesn't exist until you walk through that wheel, pretty much. Let me ask you guys this, what you guys think about this. Do you think there's all these different realities? Do you think that they all branch out tonight? Like everything that happened in all these characters' lives before this, every house that they go to, all their pasts are exactly the same. The only thing different is what is going to be affected from that night. Is that the way you guys read it, or no?
Yes.
No, not at all. Because when she starts, I'm sorry.
Fight.
No.
Well, how are they all like? How are they at the house to begin with, though? Then, if they had different paths, I feel like
no. Well, what I'm saying is, it's clear that their lives were different before entering those homes. Like these are different, parallel realities, parallel dimensions, and you're just crossing into another parallel reality. It's not that, I know they explained this like butterfly effect thing, but it's not really that, because they dispel that themselves. Because at the end, when she's going from house to house, looking at all the situations, you'll notice that at one house they got 2 guys tied up, or in another house,
but I think that's because
they're close together. Remember, she's having a fight with her boyfriend or whatever.
Right.
But in this other version, they're all close. The version she wanted to stay in.
That to me is the biggest thing that there is a difference in, because I don't know. Part of me is the way that I read it. It's the events that happened that night, like the having 2 mics tied up, or 2 Xanders, if we want to call them that. I think that's because in that version of that reality, that happened that night.
Right, but they also have a Xander that doesn't get drunk. They have a Xander,
and then you see like one dude's like dead.
So, you know what I mean?
Dead on the table, and they're doing a seance.
Right.
There's all sorts of like crazy shit going on.
What do you think, Stu? You because I think you were.
I think it all like they all entered that house that night and came. They were all together at that dinner table, like. But then it kind of like the branches of reality started to split at that point in time. I think either at some point when they were all around the table or something like that. But I feel like there was enough commonality among the, like Fable was talking about, the different scenes there towards the end, where you felt like it kind of all started, like that's when the branches started. I don't know. But it was strange to me that a lot of people look so similar. You never like, people did look slightly different, but only in very slightly different ways. Like there was nobody like really like remarkably different than, like, you know what I mean? Like the other self wasn't like that. That was curious to me.
Link.
But I'll raise you one. I would say that the switch happened at the very beginning of the movie when the girl's cell phone cracked. Because at the beginning of the dinner, the one girl believed that the old dude was on Roswell. She was like, "Are you sure you were in Roswell?" Like she really didn't believe him. That's kind of like a sign that she's like, you know, she just kind of played it off. Like,
and that was so cool. Like,
which will tell you right there that he had a whole life where he wasn't in Roswell,
or she was
right. So they came into the night in different realities. Period.
I didn't read it. I read it as if she was just he was being a dick to her. So she just wanted to lean into the fact, like, oh, I don't even recognize you from that show. But I didn't think of it the way you're saying.
First time,
you might be right.
The first time, that's how I read it. Was like, you know, they're just kind of being condescending or sarcastic to each other, and but upon this rewatch, I was like, this it was the beginning with the cell phone crack, like that kind of gave me
also the girlfriend with the ring. She said, "Remember you got me this ring at the place or whatever?" And he's like, "Yeah." And then she realizes he's a different version. She goes back into her version, which is not her version, and he's like, "Yeah, whatever." This means that before that night, their lives were different.
I read it. You might be right. I read it like just the events that took place that night in these different realities. Kevin's interaction, this square face motherfucker, Kevin's interactions with Lori, his ex-girlfriend that night, happened different in this other reality. And he was their little interaction in the hallway. She won him over in this reality. She didn't win him over in this reality.
Yeah.
And that to me, that's like my favorite part of the whole movie. The way that Kevin reacts differently when she's like, "Oh, I got your ring." And his different reactions were so telling. That I mean,
I don't know, because like at the end when she goes to the reality that she wants to stay in, Amir and the girl that hit on the other guy, they're on each other's laps. They're loving it up to imply that she has no feelings for the other guy in this reality. So that means it happened before this night.
I just love how too, like Nick said, like we knew that Homeboy was in Buffy before, and they kind of played on that. And like, oh, he's in Roswell here. That was just cool.
I love his line. He's got all the best lines in the movie, in my opinion. He's got all the funniest bits. Yeah. But when he's like, you know, we used to solve problems like this every week on Roswell. Like, we'll be just fine. Like, that's a total comment on Buffy. At the beginning, when the one girl, Beth, and she's like, all right, I've got this little drug mixture. It's got a little bit of this, a little bit of that, just a whisper of ketamine. His line when he's like, welcome to someone, he's like, you want some wine, cheese, ketamine? That's like a perfectly Xander delivered line. Like they casted him like perfect.
That was great.
I like the spoilers where they're arguing about, he's like, you slept with my best friend, slept with my wife. He's like, what are you talking about? You know what this means? In every reality, like he said, so the way he delivered it, he was like, essentially, he was like, I fucked your wife, you know, and he just like walked off, and the guy gets super pissed off. It was still.
I almost made that if it wasn't such a like a. There's another thing you guys know if you guys watch the show, you know I usually do like a cold opening where there's some like cool line and then it goes into the little art thing that Manny made me. There's nothing like that in this movie because there's always someone stepping over the cool lines. Or it's just, I tried to put that, but it's just too long and odd that it didn't work. That's what I get. To me, that's a big part of why I think this is a cool movie worth noting and worth recommending to people is that like they create so much without seeing anything. It's like the opposite of show, don't tell. The only thing they're doing is telling you stuff. Yeah. Like I always equate it to like a Star Trek episode. I've said this to you guys before, but all you got is 5 or 6 people on the bridge talking about all these crazy concepts. And now you're out in space and it's taking you all these weird places just from people having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Let me see. Let me read what Two Gun said here. Because I know Two Gun looked into this. The theory is that Amir and Lori at the beginning of the movie who arrive late to the dinner party have already entered the dark void. Okay.
Yeah.
So they're already.
That's why she didn't recognize them.
Yeah. But I think the dark void is what the title of the movie implies, convergence. The Schrodinger's cat thing where you're in the box, I mean, that's not just for that night. That's for reality, period. Like, it's a concept for reality as a whole. So we're all in that box, and there's always a 50% chance, and there's always going to be a divergent timeline. But they live not convergent to each other. But because the comet was passing that night, they converged.
Right.
And now every time they go through this dark area, they're ending up in another reality, you know?
Yeah, I thought what Homeboy said was like huge. He's like, what if this is the darkest version of ourselves? And I think like that's what we ultimately ended up finding out. Like, what one of them, what one of them's true nature was at the end.
Right. Well, that's exactly, Mike Zander kind of plays like the wild card. If he wasn't there, a lot of what goes down in the movie wouldn't go down, but there's always going to be a goddamn Zander. You know what I mean? Someone that's out there causing all the chaos. Let me see what chill out. Could all of this have been avoided if everyone just sat and ate dinner? I felt like the Uncharted 3 game when you can win if you just sit there. Yeah. Or Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's all going to end the same no matter what. If you don't involve it, Indy, it still ends the exact same way. Just no Indy. But I wonder, like, the reality that she goes into at the end, they were just in a reality that never, I think that's what it is. They never noticed the comet, but then again, they get the blackout at the end, but they never get the book, which is what they imply when she looks in Hugh's car at the end and she sees the book. It's them not having that knowledge, which creates the fear and the paranoia. So it really is the fear and paranoia that sends them out and fucks everything up, right?
I didn't think about that.
Right. Hugh has the best freaking beard and stash in the business. Yeah, he was great. Well, let's get into that a little bit. What did you guys think? Just a little bit of the characters. Did you have a hard time connecting with them? I feel like this was my third watch through this week, and that's really what I zeroed in the most, just picking up more on just like little bits about each character. Characters mentioning stuff about Amir. They're like, they say a handful of things about Amir, like, oh, that's so Amir. He would bring Kevin's ex-girlfriend here. And then at one point, Amir goes to leave, and he's like, hey, I can't find my shoes. Beth, I'm just going to borrow yours. And someone's like, that's so Amir. It's like, what the fuck is with this Amir guy? Borrowing women's shoes and bringing his buddy's ex-girlfriends. That's so him. But Stu, what did you think just about the characters as a whole? Do you have any favorite ones, or just the way that they were interacting? Anything cool you picked up?
I thought Mike was definitely awesome. I thought, I loved, like, I don't know. I loved like how he was definitely, like you said, he was the agent of mischief. He made things happen. I don't know. I thought like the rapport between all of them was kind of impressive, and well put on. I don't know. Amir was kind of cool and unpredictable. M kind of took me by surprise. I know she was like the main character, but I didn't kind of see that going how it went. But I like Mike and Lee's relationship. Beth, I think Beth was so great. Just like you said before, like the recipe with the ketamine and just her whole deal, like where she was coming from. But yeah, man, I don't know. I thought the dynamics, like that was like one of the unsung great parts about this movie was how they kind of put these character dynamics in place and had it reap huge dividends later as far as like events and what happened. I thought that was very, very well done. But yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. It makes me think, I wanted to mention this before I forget. There was an interview with Mike. I wish I knew his real name. It's like Nicholas something, the dude that plays Xander. And he was basically laying out that he had no idea what the movie was about. Like he said he went to see it and he was blown away by it because they were filled in so little with what's going on. He knows that there's different realities and stuff like that. But it would just be a cool thing to work on a project like this for 5 days, forget it, let people go into the editing room and then go watch a movie. I have no idea what it's about. But Mr. Fable, you got anything you want to throw in on the characters?
No, not really. I thought they all were serviceable. I thought there was a little weird acting going on, but now that you tell me it's all improv, again, it makes it more impressive that they were able to get
absolutely
across through improv. That's quite a feat, actually, considering the concept of this movie.
Right.
The only person I kind of found annoying was M, to be honest with you, the main character. I kind of found her acting annoying a little bit. The rest of them I thought were pretty decently cast. Beth, I know Beth from somewhere. I don't know where I know Beth from.
I feel like I know Beth from fucking high school. Like I know girls like that.
Like, Lori was great as the other woman, by the way. I thought that was very believable. That scene with Kevin in the hallway, that was really good.
Yeah. But no, they did a good job. If they did all of this improv, pretty good.
Hell yeah. What about you, Link? You got anything to add to any of the characters, the way they interacted? Any standouts?
I mean, it is impressive that I felt like they had a natural enough rapport for only shooting in 5 days. I can only assume they knew each other for probably about as less as time. But Mike, Mike was definitely the stand-up, probably because I recognized him from Buffy.
Yeah.
But,
he was for me too. I mean, there's no doubt. Like I wonder, because I just watched Buffy for the first time this year, or like this year and a half. So to me, I was like, oh fuck yeah, it's Xander. I was like, I'm so glad that I got into Buffy because he's so lovable. You know what I mean? And plus, like I said earlier, he's really playing a very similar role to Xander. So if you're a Buffy fan and you've never seen this, it's gonna be an extra little bonus. But no, I agree with you guys, man. Beth was great. Amir was great. Like, just like what you were saying, I think Fable, you had mentioned, or Stu, there is these little awkward moments, but then like after watching it the third time, once I had read on the Wikipedia page and it's explaining how they shot it, none of that stuff bugged me. And it all stood, I was like, yeah, that's how people talk. We talk over each other, we stumble, we fuck up, we say things that don't quite sound smooth, they sound a little bit awkward. So it all worked out. So as I'm laying this one out, I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna do a plot walkthrough. I'm not gonna try and track this one down bit by bit, but I figure we've kind of touched on the human drama and the characters and all that, and we've definitely touched on the sci-fi elements. But like, Stu, you got anything to elaborate on? Like, did you have an easy time following what the fuck was going on, or just anything add to the sci-fi elements of the story?
I don't know if easy is the word, but it eventually kind of like all sunk in with me. I felt like they did a good enough job, like narrating. I thought like bringing in like the what is it, the Tunguska event or whatever with the meteor crashing in Russia, and like talking about Schrodinger's cat, like talking about different theories or / events to give you enough of a backstory or structure to kind of half understand what's going on. I definitely think it could have been a little bit more flashed out, but I think by the end of it, you understood that basically Homegirl, it just basically came down to, it went from this group story kind of to the end. It was just like basically reality shopping.
Yeah. Which
and
I
like,
what'd you guys think of the sorry to cut in, the music?
No, go ahead.
When they went to that, there was something about the music that was very fitting, but it was like also like cheesy. It was a little bit cheesy, but it also like, oh, this is fucking, it's making me feel exactly what they want me to feel. It's just weird sci-fi mystery.
Yeah, it worked. Yeah, I thought it worked, definitely.
It's subtle. It was very subtle, but it was fitting for what it needed to do. I actually like that song that they were playing at the end. I think it was like called Galaxies or some shit like that. It was pretty catchy. Yeah,
fuck yeah, dude. What about you, Fable? What was I just gonna ask you? Oh, do you? Oh shit. Oh, it was good. What do you think about? Was there? Oh, did you predict it? Like, did any of you like see like when that box came? Were you like, oh, this box is a key? Like, I would have never guessed that in a million years. It's something I can see my wife figuring out. But did you figure it out, Fable, or any of you guys in the chat?
No, I'm not that smart. They put that shit, and I'm like, okay, what the hell's going on here? And I was kind of surprised that they were that smart, actually, because they're like, oh, look, there's 2 notes. What do you mean there's 2 notes? Well, what if and they're just telling you everything that's going on. If I had a problem, is that I needed more visual storytelling than them fucking telling me everything.
Well, another thing is,
you know what I mean? Like, she could have just grabbed the note, and there's 2 notes, and you didn't have to hear a word.
Right.
Like,
very good point. Yeah, definitely.
You know what I mean? Like,
there was a lot of explaining.
We would have figured it out. You know what I mean?
Right.
But that's a nitpick. That's not even, I'm not even knocking the movie.
One of my issues, it just seems really silly to me. The one character, Hugh, he's like, oh man, my brother said if there's anything funny acting, I've got to go talk to him. My brother's a theoretical physicist, or he hangs out with theoretical physicists. Yeah. You know what? He just got a new book. It's in his car. He's always getting theoretical physicist books. Maybe it explains this whole thing. And it does. It's like, what are the odds? Just random.
Yeah. Oh, and I put it in your back seat. It's in your car. Yeah.
And then like we have to stop the other group from getting the book. Like that was a little like.
Well, this is where I would say it falls apart for me a little bit, and at the same time makes it more interesting. And I'll tell you why. Because the fact that you find out, like Vern said earlier, that the first person that walked out that door never came back. then it makes you want to watch everything, because anybody who leaves or enters is a different version. And if you do notice their little facial expressions and the little conversations they're having, you can tell that maybe that is a different reality version of them. So that's pretty cool. But at the same time, if a person left the house when they came back, they're a different version. What's to say that they didn't do the box thing already? So that when they did the box thing, it would have been like, oh yeah, we did this already. And then they would have found out right there and then that some of them are wrong. So it's too much of a coincidence that the people who entered the house, their realities were very, very similar. You know what I mean? To the point where nobody caught on that they were different people.
I think, yeah, you're right. Like Amir and, well, it kind of goes back to the way I view it, where they are this, their whole lives are exact fucking the same up until like an hour and a half ago. Like that's still the way that I view it. I don't think anything was different up until that.
But I think you feel that way because of budget. Like Stu said earlier, everybody looks similar. Yeah, because you're not gonna like dress all these people 7 million different ways.
It would have been so cool, like the end of the movie, like some like alternate reality Mike with like skulls, like a chain of skulls, like just walking down the street, like some barbarian, like they're just taking them all out.
I think what makes it interesting to watch again is also what makes it fall apart at the same time. If that makes any sense.
No, I feel you. That was another one of the big things that I took away this time is watching Amir and Hugh. They not only they have little glances here and there, not much. They keep it pretty fucking subtle, but there's a handful of times where they're talking about other realities or whatever, and they'll flash to those two standing next to each other, which I really appreciated that. Like they're not even talking. There's no glance. It's just, if you know, and you're seeing them two together, like, oh yeah, it's a perfect illustration of what they're talking about right now. Dude, I almost should have told you guys, like, let's get some fucking, what the fuck does Robbie say? Teen shade, dog. Get some fucking sunglasses and get high and talk about some of this shit. Do you, Link, did you guess any of this stuff? And also to you, all you guys, do you believe in like alternate realities? Do you think that exists? And do you believe in a simulation theory, which I'm a pretty big fan of, that we could maybe get into? But Link, what do you think as far as the movie goes and what I just said?
What's the question?
The sci-fi aspect, or did you were you guessing this stuff along the way, or no?
No, no. I mean, just because it was just shocking the entire time, just because of the nature of the movie is like the Schrodinger's, can't pronounce his name, but the cat theory, you know, like that's the whole concept of the movie. So it's like anything could have happened, because I mean, I guess I could see what you say, that it's like up to that certain point in time that their lives were the same, and the other events she was seeing, I guess, were how it could play out from that point, that starting point, and how shit could spill out into different realities.
Mm-hmm.
But no, just because of the pure nature of the movie, it really could have ended up any way. Like the fact that she became a hardcore murderer at the end threw me off. Like that kind of came out of left field. Like it could have been anything, you know. So I really couldn't have guessed. I didn't put together anything.
We all read Hoxpox, right? We're all reading.
Yeah.
I look at that as like if all of a sudden there's 7 fucking Stews and 6 Fables and a half a dozen Links, I can kill one. Like the value of human life becomes lessened. And like in X-Men,
all right,
they're creating all these multiples.
Well, we know what Verno's doing.
Yeah,
don't you get what I'm saying? Like, it is a weird stretch. I'm not saying I disagree with you.
Off at least one each.
When Mike all of a sudden is like, well, I'm going to go over there, I'm going to kill them all. It is a weird stretch. But he's also that wild card character. But to me, I
love my life.
Yeah, I know. But too good saying. All right, Verno. Finally, the truth comes out. It devalues life. Like if you could resurrect, all of a sudden your life isn't as important. If there's a bunch of you, it's not as important. But
very true.
I'm trying to think. Let's grade this thing, and we can get a little deeper. We can cut each other off and extend this a little bit, but let's go ahead and start the grading process. Stu, red glow stick Stu, if I believe that. Dude's got like 20 glow sticks around his neck right now. I don't know what reality you're from, Stu. What's your final thoughts and letter grade?
Letter grade? That's what, are we still doing letter grade?
Oh, we're back to letter grade, baby.
Okay, we're back to letter grades.
You guys out of the chat too.
I think Yeah, we want to know what y'all think for real. Grade this one with us. But yeah, I don't know. This one surprised me, man. Like you said, I think on a second, like it's good for $50,000, 5 days, no script, improvised. I think it's an impressive feat of filmmaking. So I'll go solid B for, I think the story is a little exposition-y, and it's kind of like never sits still. And then kind of just like slams the door shut at the end. But at the same time, very thought provoking, a lot of cool concepts being kicked around. And like we said, like under those terms of filmmaking, I think this is definitely a cool achievement. So, shout out to them. So yeah, I'll give it a solid B, man. I think this was a good one overall.
Hell yes, my friend. I'm gonna throw it to you, Fable. I did want to do this might annoy some of you guys just to throw it on you, but if this film is saying something to you, then add that in too, because I think especially that end scene. I mean, it's throughout the whole thing. There's a lot of thematic material going throughout all of it, but when she's out there reality shopping and the music's going, like it really had me thinking, like it's kind of when I started to respect the movie like even more thematically and relate to it. It's like this is a deep ass movie. But what about you, Fable? Your letter grade, and if you got any thoughts on what it's saying?
Yeah, I think you're right with the reality shopping thing. I think it sends it home thematically. Because it brings home, like you said, the Schrodinger cat thing. I think Link said it is kind of like the concept of the movie, right? But the theme, I think, is are we the worst versions of ourselves? Is what I think that was what this is all about, and we find out that M is probably the worst version of herself. We've been following, the most selfish, the
Absolutely.
most, the one that can commit murder to get what she wants and to get the man she wants. You know what I mean? The version of the man she wants, and I think it does set that tone at the end, and it really reveals what this movie is about. But I'm gonna give it a B minus 0.69, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's perfect.
I like it.
Feel that.
Yeah, because even though I'm impressed by all the things it achieves with what it had, it doesn't mean that that's what the average moviegoer is gonna go into it knowing or caring about. Right? They're gonna grade on what they see, and this does have clunky editing, shitty cinematography. It can lose you if you're not really into this kind of thing, right? Just on the dialogue alone, it's like what? What?
Movie, it's not for everyone.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna say, but I am a science fiction fan, and I do like film, and I do like small budget film, and I am constantly. So for me, my taste, I'm gonna give it B minus 0.69.
Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah, man. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, dude. Mr. Stephanopoulos, what is your grade, brother?
My first rewatch, like I said, for my first watch, not my first rewatch, but my first watch, I was a little ho-hum on this, and I thought the concept was cool enough, so I would have given it around like a C plus, just because there's potential there. But once again, that style isn't going to be for everybody. But upon my rewatch, I respected it more, pretty much. The fun facts you gave me about it, the budget, how quick they shot it, that definitely bolstered up my score for it. So I'm gonna give it a solid B minus, like Fable as well.
0.69, bro. We might as well throw it in. Dude. Made it sound good.
But there's something there. It's a cool concept, and yeah, I think it deserves to be seen at least, Right. It could catch, because it wasn't necessarily my type of movie per se either when I watched it, but I come out respecting it more, so it could catch other people.
I think I'm kind of realizing like this is kind of a movie that's almost right up my alley if I'm in the mood for it. Because I do like those fly on the wall movies. I do, if it's done right. I like this style of movie where there's people stepping over each other. But I mean, just gonna repeat myself. The cinematography, I think you nailed it, Fable. You came strong with your criticism of it with the word shitty, and I will stick with you. It's pretty shitty. It's not the greatest.
They went to the Michael Bay School of Cinematography.
Yeah, Yeah, I mean, even like there's a couple parts where they go outside, and this is actually interesting. He said it's all filmed, like I said, in the dude's house. And the one night where they plan to go outside, there's a fucking Snickers commercial being shot like a couple doors down. So they had a hell of a time like getting it dark. And there's moments where it's just
that is too funny.
It's just black, and it's not like in a creative artsy way. It's just like shit.
Yeah.
It's just not great looking.
Yeah.
But like we've said a bunch of times, conceptually, it's just so cool. It's so engaging. There's a lot of intricacy going on in the writing that it is super rewatchable. This is my third watch this week. I usually watch these things twice the week that we do them. I didn't do that.
Oh, we know, Verno.
Yeah. But I'm gonna give it a B plus. I'll give it a little bit extra juice. I'm right there with my homie Pew Pew. Two Gun Pedro, chill out, man. Give it an A minus. As far as what it's saying, I was kind of like taking notes on it, like just the themes, right? There's this commitment bit going on with M. I'm not sure how that ties into the overall grand scheme of it all. There's all this stuff about identity and paranoia and trust and envying other people's lives. But then what really dawned on me at that final bit where she's reality shopping, it's like she's judging her life against her potential life. That's why they bring up that bit about that dancer, that something happened in her life and this dancer came in and took her position, took her life. And it's about all of us judging like, fuck, I could have stuck with doing the Cerebros and I could be a comic book YouTuber. I could have done this, I could have done that. And it's like just judging your shit off of what you are. You know what I mean? Don't base it on your potential and all that.
I thought it was kind of ill that she was literally like window shopping. Like that was kind of like a cool little detail, I thought.
Yeah, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, it's a unique ass movie that it's one of those. It's like you got to find the right people to recommend it to, because some people are going to be like, bro, what the fuck did you just do to me? Like I'm not sending this. Nick's going to be like D minus, man. What the fuck? but I know you guys well enough that I'm like, all these guys, not all you guys are going to love it, but you're all going to respect it. And none of you are going to be mad at me for watching it. So I'm always happy with that.
Listen, it's always impressive when somebody can do something in a way that I don't necessarily like or would have done and still make me like it. You know, like Deadstream was one of those, right?
Yeah.
Deadstream had that freaking shot camcorder shit. I hate that shit. I you know what I mean? But it works for that film, and it was impressive for that film. Same thing here. This is that small one room, one setting thing, and everything's implied, and it was done well for its budget.
Hell yeah, man. Bro. I feel like just because we're so used to doing like hour and 15-minute things, I feel this need to extend it, but I'm not gonna fucking extend it. I just feel like we just did a good review on this thing. Let's just wrap this fucker up, man.
Bro.
Stu, you may or may not be doing a show next week, but either way, check in on Supreme Clientele. They might be popping up doing stuff. Tell people what to expect. What's going on over at Supreme.
Yeah, of course. Tuesday nights at 9, me and Link, and we're always talking about 6-7 releases from the past week. Always a great time talking comics with my boy. No guests really lined up this week, but I'm definitely down to do a post-Christmas show. But new home for us. We were at Wednesday, so Tuesday nights at 9. Check me out on Instagram. Always sharing comics from my personal collection. Love interacting with folks on there. So that's my stuff.
Hell yeah, I'm always pumping your guys' YouTube channels, but all three of these guys have fantastic Instagrams to check out. Like really great stuff. So
my boy Link has been posting some fire lately. Now that he's got his collection back.
He got the books back,
bro. Yeah, he's been on it.
Fable, you have, I don't have to ask you, I'm sure you do. You're not doing a show next week, but you've got your show lined up for the first week of January?
No, I still haven't planned the first comeback show yet. You can catch me next on Rockin' Robbie's annual Festivus stream tomorrow on his channel, Pop Culture Philosophers. This will be my first time on this thing since joining their Excitable Crew thing. So we get to grieve our we get to air our grievances. I think about 5 of them, so I got to think about the 5 things I freaking hated this year.
That was my hardest part about doing that show. I'm busy this tomorrow, so I can't fucking do it. That's the hardest thing to me is I don't get mad about pop culture, and everyone's out there like fuck this and fuck that. I'm like, it's fine, it's fine. Just don't read it, don't watch it. Like so I don't get worked up that way.
What is it? You like it's
the airing of the grievances.
It's 5 grievances for like pop culture grievances, or just any type of grievance.
I think anything is good.
Yeah, Robbie will definitely mention the Cowboys. It's good. It's good.
Yes,
it's gonna be fun.
That's a funny thing. Yeah.
That's
so actually, you could. Yeah,
the first live stream that I ever saw Robbie do, I used to just watch his comic reviews. I think that's how we all kind of got introduced to him. The first live stream I ever saw was Jelani getting hammered drunk on this show like 3 or 4 years ago. And I was like, dude, Robbie's friends are buck wild.
That's awesome. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, man, you could catch me on that Saturday. I believe it's 9 p.m. Eastern. I'm not 100% sure on that. I
think you're right. I think you're
double check. So yeah, go head over to Pop Goes Philosophers. As far as Blame Fables, Amazing Friends, yeah, we're coming back in January. I'm not sure when. I already spoke to our first guest. I'm planning. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I would like to have Mark Legion of Comics as my first guest of 2024.
Oh yeah.
You know, just bridging that gap between all the people in the community, letting people know, you know, we're not having none of this, you know, funny stuff.
Amen,
you know,
brother.
You know what I'm saying? I don't gotta say much. You know, just sending a message out there.
We're not on that silly shit.
Yeah.
I agree. I hate that silly shit. Steph, you got anything to add to that? I know you usually say something along the lines of I just do what these guys do, I just do it smoother, or something like that. I think I improvise. I added that. Hell yeah. And as I said earlier at the start of the show,
I got a thumbs up.
Wow. Hey, Ghost Hater in the house. We done turned the Ghost Hater around, bro. Shit. It's a celebration, bitch.
As I said before, January is Zombie Fest on Blood Splatter Chatter. Super excited about that. We're going to be kicking it off with Night of the Living Dead, so there'll be no live show next week. Keep an eye out. I might be dropping something. I might not. So go ahead and keep an eye out. See if anything else pops up in the next week. But regardless, 2 Thursdays from now, Night of the Living Dead. It's going to be a pre-recorded show, but I plan on to start premiering those pre-recorded shows at the same time that we do our live shows to try and keep some consistency over here so that people can always plan on coming Thursday nights at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time, whether we're live or whether it's a pre-recorded show. There'll be people hopefully in the chat here on Thursday nights at 8. So hell yes. Thank everybody in the chat real quick. Chill out, man. 2 Gun coming through. Super appreciate you guys. As always, the 2 MVPs of the Blood Splatter Chatter chat. Manny was in here. E was in here. I think Rogue Collecting in here. Bird, Shantae Beckham. I'm going to pronounce it like that. Shantae, appreciate you. That is what I'm talking about. I think I mentioned Rogue, Bird. Stu was in here. Always love Stu when he stops in. So hell yeah, man. I appreciate
it. Merry Christmas to all y'all. If I don't see y'all between now and the holiday.
Oh yeah, man. Happy holidays to all. You know what? I'm gonna remove this real quick, or else when I go to end it, I'm gonna have one of us on screen. It'll look bad. But I'll just talk about it instead. Now it'll just sound bad. So thank you guys all so much, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.